Would you comment, because what I do tend to do is to, breathe more from my chest and not expand my diaphragm, my gut
Well,
here.
you don't need to do too much of that. Think of the back of your lungs more than the front. Have you ever seen a frog breathe?
Mm-hmm.
Won't. Put your horn on the floor once. We're going to do a little demo here. Okay. I want you to put your hands on the rib cage, up a little higher here. Now take a deep breath once. What do you feel now?
Well, the diaphragm comes up and the lungs expand. And
Well, put your hands on my rib cage in the same spot. Okay. Now feel what happens when I take a breath. See what's happening? Your lungs are now expanding. Your stomach is moving. Diaphragm is good for a couple of functions, but not really breathing. Okay? So don't think of muscles or diaphragm when you're breathing. Think of lungs and air. So put your hands on the ribs, and you can feel it expanding in the back. But you're not getting expanding. Think of the inward O. One more time. Inward O. Feel a little bit of difference. Don't raise your shoulders. Let your shoulders relax. But let your lungs fill up like a balloon. And a little slower this time. Feel a little bit difference in the amount of air you're getting in. And that's sort of, when I was younger, we used to talk about diaphragm a lot and pushing out against the belt, stomach breathing. And I found out that, the stomach holds no air. Why are you worried about the stomach unless you're making embarrassing noises or something? But you don't want to worry about the stomach, you worry about the lungs and the amount of air you're intaking. And if you're thinking about muscles, you're creating tension, which often goes into the throat and into the fingers and everything else, and that creates a tension. And, tension is the enemy of good brass playing. A lot of singing teachers used to say, I don't want any of my singers playing a brass instrument because it creates too much tension. Too much tightness in the sound. But we don't want any brass players playing with that kind of tightness or tension in the sound. We want a musical tension, but not a physical tightness of tension. So when you think of a freedom of sound, you want to think of, oh, and when you take that deep breath in and hold it, it's hard to hold because it wants to come out because you have that much air. And that gives you what's called a natural air pressure rather than a muscular air pressure. If you're pressing with the air, with the muscles, you get that kind of sound, and it's real tight and muscular. But if you have a, whoa, you hear singers going, oh, when they're warming up, oh, listen to the noise, which is just a freedom of air, getting the freedom of air moving. And we can do a little bit of that idea when we're taking that breath. Oh, and think of the sound moving. And it's sort of on a compendium. Now, I want you to take a deep breath this time. Grab your horn and play the beginning of this just one more time with those same concepts that we've just been talking about, but adding it to now, taking a full and easy breath. And we'll have to quit because dinner is waiting, whatever it is. And that natural air support is what you want. So whenever you play, you have a feeling that the horn is part of you. It becomes part of you. And so you get that. So it just feels like you're speaking or talking. It's not something different. I think that'll make a big difference. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, guys.